Okay, so the process of a transaction once you open escrow. Now, once the buyer and the seller both agree to a contract, the buyer then deposits the earnest money deposit into escrow. That's agreed upon in the contract, depending on who the company is. Escrow is a third party entity that manages the transaction. So the first thing they do is they check title to make sure whoever's selling it is supposed to be legally selling it. They check if there's any liens on the property, and then they become a third party that handles the transaction itself. If there's a credit, if there's additional negotiations throughout, escrow handles it. At the end of escrow, whenever that may be, the funds are then dispersed to the seller. So the buyer would always wire the funds to escrow at closing. Any additional deposits or any addition, like the down payment, you don't give it to the bank. It goes to escrow. Escrow is then the party that's in charge of dispersing the funds and recording the sale to the county. They balance the books. They get the payout to make sure that the mortgage and whatever, if there's any liens that need to be paid off. So that's escrow. It's a third party. Typically in the state of Nevada, or actually RESPA, depending on who you ask, it gets pretty contentious on who gets to choose escrow. Uh, Technically, it's the buyer. Not technically, legally, it's the buyer. The seller can choose the escrow, and they can go back and forth on it, but it's buyer's choice. There are legal precedents. We're gonna. It gets pretty messy on that, but buyers choose it. The sellers can request, and if the buyers don't have a preferred title company or escrow company, then they just go with that one. I do caution my buyers into saying, a seller preferred title company. I'm sorry, that's typically not the case. Sellers I've met 9 times out of 10 have no idea and could care less who the title and escrow company is. It's the listing agent's choice half the time. They have a partnership, or they've worked just like the buyer. They may have worked with a particular escrow officer in the past, had great experience, because just like anything else, there's good and there's bad escrow officers, title companies of people you just refuse to work with. So that's how it is. So that is the gist of what escrow. It's a third party. So you don't ever have to worry about, like, you're not gonna get the money. If you're a seller, you're not gonna get the money directly from the buyer. You're not the one the seller's not gonna pay off the mortgage. It's escrow that does it all. Since Clark County is an escrow state or escrow county, we use escrow, and there's varying different companies out there you can use. You can do your own research. You can pick your own, but for the most part, that's what escrow is.